Hey y'all, what is up? My name is Galaxy Girl and this is galaxyxnails. So today we are not glamorous. We are looking like we came to work. See, I got my gloves on, I got my hoodie on, and we are going to get into some shaping, acrylic application, and making sure that you have the perfect foundation to do some of these amazing nail designs. So I'm a beginner nail tech, and if you're a beginner nail tech and you want help working on laying your acrylic to where you don't have a whole bunch of sanding and reshaping to do once you lay that acrylic, and you're also working on how to get the particular shape that you want, I got a tip for you. Keep watching. Hey y'all, we're gonna get started with this silicone hand. I got this silicone hand from Amazon and I really have been enjoying it. So one of the things that I want to say, so what I'm doing right now is just making sure that I'm getting my nail tips fitted to this hand. Now, if you guys have a silicone hand, when I first got this, I experienced this. It didn't feel realistic because it felt like there was a gap between the actual silicone finger and the nail. So it almost felt like I wasn't able to really do what I needed to do and maneuver like I needed to maneuver because it felt like there was such a opening. If you see that, your nail tip that you chose, all of these seem like they're the same size, but they're really not. If you see that you have that gapping between the mannequin hand and the nail tip, your nail tip is too small, go a size or two up. So I know y'all have seen this nail shape going around just like I have. I see them with the most gorgeous Frenchies ever. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this a try. Now, listen, my biggest thing right now is when I first started this, I was using a carbide bit and it was giving way too much movement, right? So I felt like it was bumping against the plastic really heavy. And I felt like, yeah, was it doing the job? It was, but it wasn't doing a great job. So my advice when you are choosing to how you're choosing your bits or how you are choosing to shape your nail is that don't be afraid to say like, okay, something doesn't feel right with this, and then move to the next, because this is literally the softest sanding band that I ended up going in with. And when I did it this way, I'm trying to tell y'all the shape came out so much better. And I want to apologize. So the way that I hold this a little bit at certain times during the video, I'm kind of covering a few things up, but I do want to assure you guys that I did want to show you at least the overall concept. So most of you guys already have this, but I used the sanding band and I'm telling you, I was able to get the work done faster. It was a smoother process. It wasn't a whole bunch of bumping. It was like such a smooth process going in and giving that, I would call it a dip to the top of the nail, you know? Keep in mind that while you're trying to get the perfect smile line at the top, that it will shorten the nail. And so when you see that there's some issues with it, if you see that some are longer than others, they may have all started off the same length, but go ahead and fix it, even if you need to deepen that small smile line at the top, and then just go ahead and make sure everything is perfect. Work on fixing that now at this point, because your customer is going to end up seeing that one nail is longer than the other. All right, so this is not polished in the color clear. And let me tell y'all something. I love these drops. These drops literally make it easy for me to be able to work in my own house. My husband doesn't really care about the smell because it's not super noticeable, and neither do my kids. I also work next to a window, so I make sure that's open. But I put a couple drops in that and it is good. So if you are looking for something or you're trying to practice, but people in your house don't want to be disturbed by the smell, definitely check these out. So as far as my application, you guys, all right, so what I can say is slow and easy, right? I feel like this was like one of the smoothest applications that I had done, maybe even period, because I literally was just taking my time. When I went in with that first ball, you saw me really more patting that ball. That first ball should be patted. The next balls after that should be, kind of spread across the nail. So you just want to bring that forward. And literally, like, I feel like this is, first of all, I felt like I was very patient. I felt as though I really was intentional about looking at all angles of the nail and making sure that everything looked good as far as what I could see. There's always there can be areas where you may have overlooked them during the application process, and you could go back in and really touch those up. But when I tell you guys, I was really happy about this application process. Not that I feel like I mastered it, but I'm proud of myself because I took my time. I feel like I was very intentional about where I put the beads, and even if they were a little runny, being sure like not to, kind of panic and make sure that I'm just taking the time that it needs to smooth that out and make sure that the overall application looks smooth. It looks good from multiple angles. So that's what I feel happy about. Also, my instructor was telling us that we really shouldn't have to go in and kind of trace the bead, like either on the sides and around the cuticle, because you don't want to get a lot of product or even have the monomer like all over the customer's skin around the cuticle area. And I'm still learning that. So if you see that in certain points in the video, I'm still working on that. This is just me where I am in my learning process. So again, I go in and I'm just patting that first bead and making sure that everything looks as smooth and it's almost, well, I'm not super flush to the nail, but almost as flush as possible to the nail. When I first started, I would grab way too much product. I would make sure that, without even being intentional, my nails would be a lot thicker. But I realized, after going to nail school and talking to my instructors, that you really do not need all of that. So the brush size that I'm using, this is actually a 12. So I went and I picked up this one outside in school. I think I use either an 8 or a 10, and I love that too. So if I could choose, I would. I do like this size. I think it feels comfortable, but I think you also have to be very careful because you can pick up a lot of product. And I also feel like, when you're trying to be intentional about where you're placing it, you have to really be comfortable with your beads. Now let's get into this shaping. So the biggest tip that I got was like, don't be in a rush to go and get the e-file. There's so much filing that you are able to do and shaping that you're able to do with your hand file. Now, this is a pretty aggressive what am I thinking? No, this is the 80 grit. So I'm going in with this 80 grit because I don't think I knew where my 100 grip was. I only could find the pack of these and the pack of 180. So I need to find those, but the 80 grip did work. And I feel like I'm happy that I'm taking the time to really feel comfortable with hand filing, because I almost feel like it can be a lot quicker. So don't get me wrong, you think electronics, you can really like take down bulk, but also is it going to be as even as you want it to be? And, just making sure that you're not handicapped by any particular tool. So being able to shape and then go over the nail, making sure that everything looks as flush as possible. I saw my instructor literally like take down some bulk on a nail very, very quickly. And she did that with a hand file. And I was like, whoa, like my goal is to be as diverse as possible in my skills. Literally, I don't want to be limited to any particular tool. Oh, I don't have this. I'm not going to be able to do that today. Or the quality of work is not going to be the same. That is not my goal. My goal is going to be like, okay, we know we need to go a little, I don't want to say old school, but we want to break it down to foundations, and we're going to just use this hand file. You still going to leave with a great set, girl. You know what I'm saying? I heard a lot of nail techs talk about how they have either dropped their e-file and it stopped working. But guess what? You're not handicapped to that. If that happens to you while you're working, bust out that hand file on a lower grit and make sure that, you're going over and debulking the areas that you need to. And you can do that with this as well. Now, I still am going in with that sanding bit and just really smoothing it over. But once I went in with that hand file, literally this was the smoothest process. I feel like it was so smooth. And mind you, this is a fine grit sanding band. Very, very fine. Like something that you could even use on a natural nail. And I promise you, this came out so beautiful and so smooth, at least to what I could see. Now, all my experts, you guys are going to know, you guys are going to know that, hey, like, oh, she could have did better in this area. And thank you. Please leave those tips because your girl is always looking for ways to get better. If you have a tip that works for you, definitely leave this. But for all my beginner nail techs, we in this pool together for sure. We're all in this pool together, always learning. So this was a super easy application for me. And all I did was take my time and be intentional about my mix ratios, as well as the beads that I was and the techniques that I was using when applying my beads and spreading my beads. So I'm still working on the mix ratio a little bit because sometimes I feel like it can be a little more watery, but I think as a beginner it gives me the time that I need so that I'm able to, just keep moving forward, so and manipulate that bead for as much time as I can to get it to look the way I want it to look. So I don't know, but y'all let me know what y'all think. Okay, so now I'm going in on the side and I'm literally just touching up that shape. I'm making sure that my lines are together. I'm really just looking at it from all angles. I went underneath the nail, on the side. I'm looking at it on the top level in eye view. So, I mean, there was so much that I was doing here that I felt like, okay, this is something that this is not a one-time thing. This is not because, oh, hey, I felt like my application may not have been that great. This is what we should be doing on a regular basis, you guys. So I'm learning that, and let me know some of the tips that you guys are learning as well. But I'm so happy with how this set came out. I feel like I was happy with also, um, you know, the tip of the shaping, because like I was saying, I saw so many cute Frenchies that had this dip and they just look so fire. One of the things I also would say is when you're at the tip of the nail and you're doing your smile lines, don't forget to go over like the top of it. All right, you guys. So first things first, let's talk about how your nail dust can definitely get messy. And one of the key things you want to do is, as you are using something, close it up and put it away. So you see, I just got done doing this set, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But I also have multiple acrylics that I am using within this set, or that I will be using during this set. And I also have all of these covers. But you notice that the only thing that I have that doesn't have a lid on it is actually what is my brush and my brush cleaner. And everything else, the tops have been screwed on and everything is in a good space. Now, I know it doesn't look super clean because it's not clean, but it's clean for what I'm doing right now. So I've been throwing away any paper towels that I have going on. I've been getting any excess dust off my desk as I go. I make sure that I have a specific area that I kind of want everything in. So some of these are kind of some things that I wanted to have out because I'm not exactly sure. So I have some nail glue right here. I have my blooming gel. I have, a few things that I, basically need to have. I have my e-file, and of course I have my manicure brush. So that is really what my setup is right now. And let's get into how I got this shape and how I'm going to actually refine this shape, y'all.